In this course, you'll discover the basics of Microsoft Excel, what it is, how to use it, and why it's an important part of Microsoft's suite of office productivity tools. This course will help you get started with the basic features and functionality in Microsoft Excel. And by the end of the course, you'll be familiar with how to complete a range of complex tasks using the application. Did you know that Microsoft Excel boasts a vast array of sophisticated spreadsheet editing tools that can help speed up your workflow? For the rest of Module 1, you'll get started with some entry-level basics in Microsoft Excel. By getting to know Excel, what it does, its interface, and general layout and features, you'll get to start creating workbooks and working with data, before exploring how to modify workbooks, formatting data, applying layout, and preparing to print. In Module 2, you'll start working with Excel's core features, functions, and formulas. You'll learn how to implement and use formulas and functions with data in Excel. You'll also learn how to use sorting and filtering tools and define data sets by applying range names. And you'll explore an array of specialized text and logical functions that can really boost your abilities in Excel. In Module 3, you'll move on to how to organize and visualize data in Excel. You'll learn all about tables and charts, how to create, format, and modify them to store, organize, and display data in the way that you need. You'll also learn how to manage large workbooks, and you'll be introduced to analyzing data using Excel's pivot tables and sparklines. In Module 4, you'll have the opportunity to try out some of the advanced features that Excel has to offer. These include customizing formula, proofing, and interface options, as well as applying conditional formatting, how to customize, manage, enhance, and automate large workbooks, and how to export data and use data sources. Finally, in Module 5, you'll undertake a hands-on project with Microsoft Excel. In this project, you'll use the knowledge and experience that you've gained from the previous modules by applying your spreadsheet skills to analyze and present sales data before reviewing and leaving comments. Throughout all these modules, you'll encounter several case studies showing the real-world applications of Microsoft Excel. And by the time you've completed this project and the other exercises in the course, you'll have created a portfolio of work demonstrating your proficiency with Microsoft Excel. By the end of this course, you will have learned how to get started with Excel, work with formulas and functions, modify worksheets, print workbook contents and manage workbooks, analyze data using functions, and visualize data with charts. Best of luck on your journey through Microsoft Excel.
Welcome. Whether you're interested in learning how to use some of the essential Microsoft 365 Office applications or preparing to earn a certification, this program covers what you'll need to achieve your goals. You'll have access to a range of resources designed to support your learning journey. Before you begin, we recommend that you are comfortable with the basics of how to use and navigate a Windows operating system, familiar with how to use a mouse, keyboard, and start menu, and, if possible, experienced with operating both an internet browser and a printer system. So, if you're good to go, it's time to look at the content you will be able to access in this program. In each lesson, you have access to videos, readings, exercises, discussion prompts, practice quizzes, and graded quizzes. The videos guide you on the key features, elements, and the best practices associated with individual Microsoft Office programs. There are also several optional videos. These are not mandatory and can be skipped if you are already familiar with the material they cover. Next are the readings and exercises. Readings are articles that provide a more in-depth look at the topics you cover in the videos. They can also be an item of information in themselves. Exercises are articles that provide step-by-step instructions for performing tasks that you encounter in videos. To complete an exercise, you'll need to open the Microsoft Office program and perform the steps as outlined in the article. Each exercise guides the requirements. You can pass this course and all graded assessments without access to the downloadable version of a particular Microsoft program, and you are free to use Office for the web or another version of a Microsoft Office application. You should note that some features covered in the exercises may not be available when you use another version. As you navigate this program, remember, you're not alone on your journey. Through discussion prompts, you are encouraged to actively engage with classmates on the core topics covered in each module. Take the opportunity to be inspired or to inspire others. Each lesson also has a practice quiz. A practice quiz is a series of short questions that assess your knowledge of the topics you've covered in the lesson. At the end of each module, there is also a graded quiz. A graded quiz is more like an exam. There are more questions in this graded quiz than in your practice quiz, and your answers in this case do receive a grade. After you finish and submit a quiz, you'll see your score. For some quizzes, you might also see feedback, like hints or explanations for each question. All quizzes include multiple question types. You can retake quizzes if you need to improve a score or if you did not pass the first time. When you complete a course, you'll earn a certificate that you can share with prospective employers and your professional network. In the final module of each course, you'll also have the option to complete the honours material. This is an optional honours assignment you can complete for special recognition. In these assignments, you'll have to draw upon the knowledge that you have gained throughout a course and put it into practice by applying your new skills to an assignment. You don't need to complete the assignment to get a course certificate, but if you complete the honours assignment, your course certificate will include a special honours recognition. You're now ready to navigate your way through these courses and start building your skills with Microsoft 365. Have fun learning.
So what exactly is Excel? Well, Microsoft Excel is a powerful and easy to use spreadsheet application. Nearly everyone who works with numbers has likely used Excel or some other spreadsheet application in one form or another. Thomas Bradshaw from Westcal Publishing knows he has to start using Excel to be able to perform the role of an account manager, but it's been a long time since he used these applications. If you are new to Excel and spreadsheets in general like Thomas, the vast array of features and controls can seem quite daunting. However, once you understand the basics of workbooks and the functionality they offer, you'll be well on your way to becoming an expert in Excel. So let's not waste any more time in getting started with Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is the spreadsheet application that is part of Microsoft's suite of office productivity tools. Spreadsheets are essentially a large flexible grid which can be paper or digital that are used to store, sort and work with information, typically numerical data. In Excel, data is stored in a worksheet, a digital form of spreadsheet, which consists of intersecting rows and columns. A column is a vertical series of adjacent cells from top to bottom. A row is a horizontal series of cells from left to right. The intersection of a row and column is called a cell and can contain many types of data. This data, while most often numerical, can also include text, shapes and pictures. Using Excel, you can organize, analyze and store large amounts of data. You can also create charts, tables and diagrams to summarize and present data. Typically, worksheets display columns with alphabetical headers and rows with numerical ones. Each column has an index letter. Since there are only 26 letters, and there can be far more than 26 columns on a spreadsheet, the columns after column Z are indexed by the letters AA, AB, AC and so on until the last column, up to XFD more than 16,000. Each row has an index number from 1 through to 1,048,576. Each cell is given a name in the column row format, with the top left cells referenced as A1. Here you can see that the word cell has been typed into C3. The active cell is the name given to the cell that is currently selected. A cell range, or simply range, is defined as a series or block of adjacent cells. A workbook is a collection of one or more worksheets. By default, new blank workbooks only include one worksheet, but you can add others if needed. If the workbook that you are using includes more than one worksheet, you can switch between them by clicking the tabs. The name of the worksheet that you are presently working with will be in bold type on a white background. Let's take a closer look at Excel's user interface and how to interact with the features and functionality contained in the layout. The Quick Access toolbar gives you quick access to frequently used commands. This toolbar is completely customizable and can be positioned above or below the ribbon commands. Tabs are groups of similar commands and are organized under tab names. Click a tab to view the commands in the ribbon. The ribbon interface displays tab commands organized into groups. If you click the different tabs, you will see the commands change. Notice that some of the commands might be grayed out. This is because those commands are only usable in certain situations. The File tab, which opens Backstage View, is also included here. Every cell has a name in the format column row. The name of the currently selected cell, called the active cell, is shown in the name box. Here, the active cell is A1. The formula bar allows you to enter data in a cell. Data can be alphanumeric, pictures, symbols, or as the name suggests, formulae. The data contained in the file will be shown in the working area. The contents of this cell are shown in the formula bar. When you're doing calculations, the result is shown in the worksheet, but the calculation is visible in the formula bar. The status bar is used to display information about the workbook. Any temporary results, depending on what is selected in the worksheet, will be shown here. There are also some zoom and view commands here. As you grow more accustomed to working with Excel, you may begin to work on larger files, and sometimes all of the information in a worksheet will not fit on the screen. You will find scroll bars on the right and bottom sides of Excel workbooks. To view different parts of a worksheet, click and drag the scroll bars to scroll horizontally or vertically through the data. Sometimes the keyboard can be an even quicker way to navigate through worksheets. On screen now are some common keyboard shortcuts that you may find useful. For a full list of keyboard shortcuts, please refer to the additional resources at the end of this lesson. Now let's take a closer look at the Excel user interface as you learn how to create and manage your own workbooks. Excel's ribbon interface is a great place to start, as it contains a huge amount of Excel's features and functionality. Excel's commands are found on the ribbon and split into groups. Each group is identified with a name, and the active tab is underlined to differentiate it from the others. By default, Microsoft Excel has 8 tabs, excluding the File menu. Those tabs are Home. Here you perform basic formatting and editing tasks. Insert enables you to add objects and filters to the workbook. Page Layout. Here you can change the overall appearance of the workbook. Formulas. Find, insert and manage formulas and functions in your workbook. Data enables you to manage and organize the data within your workbook. Review allows you to check your workbook for spelling errors, add comments, and manage how changes are handled. View, here you can change how you're viewing your workbook and work with macros. And Help, where you can access Microsoft's built-in help features. Excel also features contextual tabs. These are special tabs that only appear when you are working with a specific object or group of information. For example, if you select a table, the Table Design contextual tab will be shown. Some groups feature an option button beside the group name. Click the dialog box launcher button to open a dialog box with more specific controls relating to this group and other commands in the tab. The Backstage view is where you have some general options and controls for the Excel application. The File tab opens a special screen called Backstage View. Let's take a quick look at each item on the left-hand side. New is where you can create a new blank workbook or choose from a number of available templates. Open a workbook from your OneDrive account, your computer, or any other location that you have access to. Info displays vital statistics about the current file. You're also able to modify read-write permissions, check for compatibility issues with other programs, manage versions of this file, and choose what users see if the current workbook is viewed on the web. Document properties are listed on the far right side. Save your workbook to update the current workbook with any changes made since it was last saved. If the file has not been saved, clicking this command will switch you to the Save As category. Save As enables you to choose whether to save the workbook to your OneDrive account, your computer, or any other location that you have access to, and choose from many available file types. Print is where you can preview and browse your workbook as it would look if it were printed. This is called Print Preview. It also provides commands to print the workbook and customize the printout. Share this workbook to the cloud or send this workbook to others via email. Export lets you save the workbook as a PDF or XPS file. It also provides a command to change the file type, which gives you access to many different formats. Publish your workbook to Power BI, an online data analysis service. Close the current workbook. Account enables you to modify your Microsoft account. Feedback is where you can provide feedback to Microsoft on features you like or dislike and submit suggestions for future versions of Excel. And Options lets you open the Excel Options dialog box, where you can change the general settings of your Excel application. To close Backstage View, click the back arrow at the top of the menu. Excel offers support for a variety of data types that can be entered into worksheets. These include labels, which can be any alphanumeric text, values, which are numbers that you can use to perform functions and data analysis, dates and times, which express the date, the time, or both, Using the correct data type will facilitate data analysis and ensure that you can use appropriate features like pivot tables and what-if analysis. Microsoft Excel uses a file format known as the Microsoft Excel XML format. Despite this newer file format, Excel 365 is capable of reading files created from Excel 97 through to Excel 2016 and beyond. It is also capable of using other file types as well, including plain text, OpenOffice.org documents, and data output files. Whenever you save a new file in Excel, it is automatically saved in the Excel 365 file format. However, you can use the Save As command to open the related dialog box and choose a file type. This can be helpful if you're worried about compatibility with earlier versions of Microsoft Office. Click File, then Save As, or press F12 to open this dialog box. When working with files in Excel, there will be two save scenarios. You'll either save a new file that was made from scratch, or you'll save changes to an existing file. Therefore, there are two different save commands in Excel, Save and Save As. Let's have a look at the actions of each command on either a new file or an existing file. When saving a new file, clicking either Save or Save As will have the same result. You'll be prompted to give the file a name and choose a save location. You can also specify a file type. When saving an existing file and clicking Save, any changes you have made will be applied to the existing file in its current location. When saving an existing file and clicking Save As, you have the option to give the file a new name and a new save location. You can also specify a new file type. If you do change something, the original file will not be changed. To save a new file for the first time, you can click the Save icon on the Quick Access toolbar, press Ctrl and S together, click File and then Save, or click File and then Save As. Any of these options will open the Save As category of Backstage View. On the left-hand side, choose the location to which you want to save or click Browse to manually choose a location. Clicking Browse will open the traditional Save As dialog box. At the top of the window, you can choose a location to save your file. You can also use the shortcuts on the left-hand side of the window to navigate through your computer. At the bottom of the window, enter a file name. Finally, choose a file type if desired. Click Save to complete the process. Once you have saved a file in this way, you can use the commands mentioned previously, Save icon on the Quick Access toolbar, Ctrl and S keys, or File and then Save to update it. Because you are updating an existing file, you will not need to enter the file name, location, or type again. If you want to save the file with a different name, location, or type, click File and then Save As, or use the F12 shortcut. This will reopen the Save As dialog box and let you change file information. Microsoft OneDrive is Microsoft's online file storage service. It is available to anyone with a Microsoft account and allows users to store, sync, and share files with other users online. You can access these files using your browser or through your operating system if you use Windows 8 or later. Microsoft 365 incorporates OneDrive directly into most of its apps so that you can seamlessly save and open files to your OneDrive account. For example, in the Save As category of Backstage View, you have quick access to your OneDrive account if you are signed in with a Microsoft account. To save the current workbook to your OneDrive account, click the OneDrive entry on the left-hand side of the Save As category. Then choose the desired folder within the OneDrive account from the list on the right-hand side. When working with a workbook in Excel 365 that was created in an older version of Excel, such as Excel 2003, that workbook will automatically open in compatibility mode. Such workbooks can easily be identified by the compatibility mode text next to the file name on the title bar. A workbook that was created using an older version of Excel can be opened in Excel 365 using compatibility mode. However, some newer features may be limited. To access these features, you can convert older workbooks into Excel 365 file format. Additionally, you will often find that converting older workbooks into this newer format will help reduce its size. To convert an open workbook, click File, then Info, and then Convert. This will open a Save As dialog box where you can save a version of the workbook in the Excel 365 format. Clicking Save will mean that you are now working within the converted workbook. The compatibility checker is designed to scan your workbook for potential issues if you want to save it as an earlier version of Excel, particularly using .xls format. Open this tool by clicking File, then Info, and then check for issues, and finally check compatibility. After a moment, the compatibility checker dialog box will appear and show all possible conflicts between Excel 365 and previous versions. Click OK to close the dialog box. Note the available option at the bottom of the compatibility checker dialog box to automatically check compatibility when saving this workbook. Microsoft Excel also comes with a tool to help you check your document for possible accessibility issues that could affect users with disabilities. To use this tool, click File, then Info, and then Check for Issues, and finally check Accessibility. The Accessibility task pane will then be displayed on the right-hand side of your screen. Its contents will be divided into 3 sections: Errors, Warnings, and Tips. You can click on any issues to go to that item and view more information about the problem. Let's take a closer look at the 3 types of inspection results. The Errors section will list items in the workbook that people with disabilities will not be able to access. This includes objects without alternate text, tables that do not have header rows, and manual formatting. Alternative text is a sentence that describes an image you've inserted in a spreadsheet that helps visually impaired users. The Warnings section lists issues such as hard-to-read color combinations for the visually impaired, awkward table formatting, and hyperlinks that do not have screen tips. You can click on an entry in this list to see suggested ways to fix the problem. Clicking also takes you directly to the item. And finally, the Tips section of the Accessibility Checker will give you additional information for ways that you can improve the accessibility of your workbook even further. It would be difficult to memorize everything Excel offers, and its features are constantly changing. Luckily, Excel comes with a few different help tools so that you can find answers to any questions. If you're not sure how to do something in Excel, or you're looking for a command or a suggestion, you can click the search box in the title bar of your workbook and type a word or phrase related to what you want to do. As you type, the search feature will present different options and recommendations related to the topic you have entered. Depending on the topic you have entered, the options and recommendations can include the best available action, alternative actions, searching the workbook for the term, opening the Microsoft Help task pane, or a link to a definition of the term. To access advanced help options, click the Help tab in the ribbon. The Help tab contains 2 groups, the Help group and the Community group. Clicking the Help command in the Help group will launch the Help task pane to the right of your worksheet. Typing a question or a phrase in the search field will present one or more help topics that present you with a possible solution. Clicking on one of the options will display the selected solution, as well as the other most relevant results of your search. You can also click Show More to display other less relevant results. Here's a quick overview of the other commands in the Help group and Community group and the resources they provide. The Contact Support command will launch the Help task pane and provide information on how to access support based on your type of software license. The Feedback command will launch the Feedback task pane and present you with options to submit feedback to Microsoft. The Show Training command will launch the Help task pane and present options for built-in Microsoft Excel training. The What's New command will launch the What's New task pane and display information on new features in the Excel application. The Community command will launch a browser window and open the Microsoft Excel Community homepage, which gives access to a wealth of information created by a user community. The Excel Blog command will launch a browser window and open the Microsoft Blog homepage, where you access a wide array of Excel-related user-generated posts. And the Suggest a Feature command will launch the Suggest a Feature task pane, where you can submit suggestions and ideas for the next version of Excel. Working with data is the fundamental purpose of Excel, so let's get started with data. Thomas Bradshaw from Westcal Publishing knows that Excel contains several tools to help reduce your workload and streamline tasks. Let's explore a few tools and techniques that you can use when working with formulas and data. Let's begin with some of the more common techniques that you can use to select various parts of a worksheet. To select a cell, simply click on the cell. To select a contiguous range of cells, click the first cell included in the range, hold down the Shift key, and then click on the last cell in the range. To select an entire row, click on the numerical header. To select an entire column, click on the alphabetic header. To select an entire worksheet, click the worksheet selector next to column A or press Ctrl and A on your keyboard. And to select a contiguous range of cells, rows, or columns, click and hold the left mouse button over the first cell, column, or row in the range, then drag the mouse to the last cell, column, or row, then release the left mouse button. Just like many applications, Excel allows you to move and/or copy cells and their contents to other areas of the workbook or even other applications. You can move a cell's contents using the cut and paste commands. You can find these commands in the Clipboard group of the Home tab. These commands are also available on the right-click menu. Or you can use keyboard shortcuts for these commands. To cut, you want to press Ctrl and X. To copy, it's Ctrl and C. And to paste, you press Ctrl and V. These shortcuts are universal across most programs. To use the range of paste options, click the drop-down on the Paste command in the Home tab to access the many options on how to paste data and/or attributes from your copied data. The standard paste option at the top left is used to paste all formatting, along with the contents of the cell. The Paste Values option is used to paste the values from the copied data only, without the formulas or formatting. To review the alternate paste methods, you can hover your mouse over the icons to display a description or click Paste Special. The Paste Special dialog box will appear, displaying the available options for pasting copied data. Live Preview is used to give you an idea of how copied objects will look when pasted in a selected area using regular paste or a Paste Special option. These previews are enabled by default and will be displayed automatically when you hover your cursor over a paste option on the Paste drop-down command or on the context menu. A preview of how the data will look when pasted will be displayed, and any overlaying menus will become transparent. You'll also find this feature when formatting your worksheets by changing fonts and adding styles. The transpose option is a type of paste command that includes options to shift the vertical and horizontal orientation of any columns and rows in a worksheet. For example, suppose that you had a data range that displayed product names and numbers as rows, with days of the week displayed as columns. You could transpose the columns and rows by copying this data range and then placing your cursor on the worksheet where you want the copied data to be pasted. Next, click Home, then Paste, and then Transpose. The result will flip the row and columns. You can also move Excel data by selecting cells and dragging and dropping them to a new location. To do this, hover your mouse over the border of the selected cells until the Move cursor appears. Then click and drag the selected cells to the new location. Excel has a couple of useful features which can automatically repeat, sequence, combine or extract data across many cells if it recognizes a pattern. Autofill can help you quickly enter repeated or incremental text and numbers. For example, imagine that you must enter all the years from 2010 to 2020 in a worksheet. Rather than typing each year manually, you can use autofill to enter the data quickly and easily. In order to use autofill, you need to establish a pattern if you want anything other than default. Firstly, type 2010 into cell A1 and 2011 into cell A2, drag and select both cells and hover over the green box in the corner. Now drag downwards and let go of the mouse. The corresponding years autofill as a result. You can click the Autofill Options button that appears after you have selected a range of cells to configure how the autofill works. Excel also comes pre-programmed with some other common autofill sequences, including days of the week and months of the year. Let's try another method. Type 2010 into cell A1 and 2012 in cell A3. Then select the range of cells from A1 to A3. Next, navigate to the Home tab and click the Autofill icon, and then select Series from the drop-down menu. A Series dialog box will open containing options for configuring how you want the series autofill to operate. Excel will automatically choose options related to the range of cells you selected. Here the series will be in a column in a linear type with a step value of 1. Click OK. Now cell A2 will be populated with the missing year in the sequence. Flash fill is similar to autofill, but flash fill will automatically extract or combine data when it senses a pattern in the adjacent cells. As an example, you can use flash fill to separate the first name from a column containing full names. Start by typing the first name from cell A2 into cell B2. You can then select cell B3 and click Data, then Flash Fill. Sensing a pattern, Excel will automatically fill the remaining cells in column B with the first name from column A. Like many other applications, the undo command allows you to reverse the last action that you completed. The redo command, on the other hand, will repeat the last action. Both commands are available in the Quick Access toolbar. Clicking the drop-down arrow on either command will allow you to select multiple actions at once from your recent activity. You can also perform the undo command by pressing Ctrl and Z on your keyboard. The shortcut for the redo command is Ctrl and Y. The next level of working with data in Excel is modifying entire rows and columns. Excel provides plenty of features for controlling and editing rows and columns in a worksheet. Let's take a look at some of the functionality available. To insert a new column, click on a cell in the column to the right of where you want the new column to appear. Or to insert a new row, click on a cell in the row below where you want the new one to appear. Next, click Home, then Insert and choose what to insert. Notice that you can also insert individual cells from this menu. You can also access these options by right-clicking on the chosen cell and selecting Insert from the menu. The Insert dialog box will appear, where you can choose to insert a row above the selected cell, a column to the left of the selected cell, or an individual cell, with the option of shifting the existing cells down or to the right. Deleting rows and columns works in the same way, using the delete commands available on the Home tab in the Cells group and the right-click menu. Sometimes it will be necessary to change the size of a row or column in order to display all the data in the cell. You also might want to change the size of a row or column just for appearance. In either case, resizing a row or column is quite easy. To change the size of a column, place your mouse pointer on the line that divides the column headers. For example, if you wanted to change the size of column C, you would place your mouse pointer on the line separating C and D. Your cursor will turn into a vertical line with a small arrow on either side. When you see this pointer, click and hold the left mouse button to drag the column edge to the left or right. As you drag, you will see the size in pixels. When you release your mouse, the size of the column will be changed. To change the size of a row, place your pointer on the line separating the row headers and then click and drag up or down to make the row larger or smaller. To automatically fit a column or row to its contents, double-click the separator. There are more resizing commands available by clicking Home, then Format. The two auto-fit commands will automatically size the row or columns to their contents. The row height and column width commands will open a dialog box where you can enter the desired dimensions. Excel also gives you the ability to temporarily hide rows and/or columns and then unhide them when necessary. This is useful for reducing the width of very large spreadsheets to make it easier to read. However, you should note that if a column or row is hidden, they won't appear if the sheet is printed. To begin, select the row or column that you want to hide. Next, click Home, then Format, and then Hide and Unhide, and choose the desired option. In this example, column B is hidden. To re-show it, we would reselect the surrounding columns and click Home, then Format, then Hide and Unhide, and finally Unhide Columns. The column would then reappear as normal. Excel also enables you to clear the data from cells rather than deleting the cells entirely. You can do so by clicking the drop-down arrow on the Clear command in the Editing group of the Home tab. You can then choose from several available options. Each clear option produces a different result. The Clear All option clears all contents, formats and comments that are contained in the selected cells. The Clear Formats option clears only the formats that are applied to the selected cells. The Clear Contents option clears only the contents in the selected cells, leaving formats and comments in place. The Clear Comments and Notes option clears any comments or notes attached to the selected cells. And the Clear Hyperlinks option clears any hyperlinks attached to the selected cells. You can also select a row or column from its header, right-click and select Delete. However, please be aware that this removes the row or column and the content completely. When learning how to modify a worksheet, a good place to start is formatting text. Thomas Bradshaw from Westcal Publishing has used formatting tools in Microsoft Word and PowerPoint before and can see that many of the icons and tools look similar in Excel. Thomas wants to refresh his knowledge on font options and different methods for applying formatting to the text in his documents. He also needs to find out how to create hyperlinks. Let's get started by taking a closer look at fonts. A font is a complete set of characters with a typeface and style that are used to create text. Fonts are very customizable. You can change their size, type and color to create the effect you are looking for. On screen you can see an example of a few different fonts. Naturally, the font group of the Home tab is where you'll find most font commands. You can choose the font face, size, color and effects here. The top row of this group contains commands to change the font face, change the font size, incrementally increase or decrease the font size. The bottom row of this group contains commands to apply bold, italic, underline, double underline and strike through effects, format cell borders, add shading to cells, and change the font color. Now, let's explore the range of methods for formatting text in Excel. Many font and formatting settings can be found in the Format Cells dialog box. A variety of option buttons on the Home tab open this dialog box to an associated tab. For example, clicking the Alignment option button will open the Alignment tab in the Format Cells dialog box. However, the easiest way is to use the Control and 1 shortcut or to right-click a cell and click Format Cells. When you open the Format Cells dialog box, you'll see a number of tabs at the top. Each tab allows you to view and modify different options based on the currently active cells. Let's look at the 6 tabs in the dialog box. Number is where you can apply and modify number formatting. Alignment helps you to modify the alignment, orientation, text options, and direction of the text in the cell. Font is where you change font face, style, size, color, effects, and underline type. Border provides you with options to customize the outline of the cell. Fill is where you can customize the background color of the cell. And with protection, you can lock or hide the cell. With the Format Painter, you can copy just the formatting from one cell and apply it to others in your worksheet. To use the Format Painter, select a cell that has the format you want to copy, then click the Home tab and then Format Painter. The cell that you selected will be identified with a scrolling dashed border, and your mouse pointer will now have a paintbrush beside it. Now, any cell or range you select will assume the formatting of the cell that you selected. As you see below, the value of the cells remain the same, but the formatting from the originally selected cell is copied. The Format Painter will then automatically turn off. To continue with more cells, you can click the command again. To cancel the process while the Format Painter is activated, press Escape. To prevent the Format Painter from turning off after the first application, so you can copy the format to more than one cell without having to reactivate the Format Painter, double-click Format Painter after selecting the cell that is the format you want to copy. Once you have finished, press Escape. Many Excel features, including the font face and size menus, feature live preview. This means that while you are scrolling through options, you will see a preview of that effect applied to the selected text or active cell. When you right-click on a cell, you will see a small formatting toolbar at the top of the pop-up menu. This toolbar is called the Mini Toolbar. It contains popular commands related to whatever object is currently selected. For example, if you have text selected, you will see formatting commands available in the font and alignment groups of the Home tab. A really useful feature in Excel is being able to create and embed hyperlinks into text in a cell. If you need to reference an online document, folder, or website that are relevant to the data contained in your document, hyperlinks can be used to take people straight there from Excel. For example, if Thomas was using a worksheet that monitored income from invoices, there could be a link to an online folder that contained the digital copies of the referenced invoices. To create a hyperlink, select the text or object that you want to add the link to. Then click the Insert tab and then Link. You can also access the hyperlink command by pressing Ctrl and K. With either method, the Insert Hyperlink dialog box will open. At the top of the dialog box, in the Text to Display field, you can change the text displayed in the cell containing the link. Then in the Link to category, you can choose to link to a URL, an existing file, another place within the workbook, a new document, or an email address. In the case of a URL, you enter the URL into the address field. In this example, a URL for the Microsoft website has been entered. Click OK to create the link. The text in the selected cell will turn blue and be underlined, indicating to users that clicking this item will launch the hyperlink. To modify the hyperlink, perform the Insert Hyperlink command again. To remove it, use the Clear command on the Home tab. Spreadsheets can sometimes be hard to read. The ability to format cells is essential for making a worksheet visually understandable and easily readable. Thomas from Westcal Publishing has had a company account workbook that he was working on sent back to him from his manager. Even though the content of the workbook was correct, Thomas's manager could not see the data he needed to see at a glance. Thomas needs to work on the design and layout of his workbook so that his manager can easily and quickly find the information they are looking for. Let's take a look at some formatting tools and techniques. Like working with fonts, you can also modify the appearance of cells in a variety of ways. For example, you can change the border options, fill colors, and even the format of data. To add a border, select a range of data, click the arrow next to the Borders button, and choose which type of border you wish to apply to the range. There is also a No Border option, which will remove an applied border. The formatting will be applied and the selected option will now be available by clicking the Border command directly. For example, Here we applied thick outside borders to the cell, so this option is now reflected on the border icon. To apply a fill colour, select the range of cells that you want to modify. Then click the Home tab and then the Fill Colour drop-down arrow and click the desired colour. Just like the Borders command, the Fill command will show the most recently applied colour. Click the icon directly to apply it to additional cells. Number formats are used to change the appearance of data and improve its readability. You can find the related commands in the Number group of the Home tab. Let's take a look at these commands. You can select a number format from the drop-down menu. Currency gives default currency for country settings in your version of Microsoft Office. Apply the percentage number format. Please be aware that this option makes a number look like a percentage but also multiplies by 100. It should only be used when formatting results of certain types of percentage calculations. The accounting comma applies 2 decimal places and inserts a comma between increments of 1000. You can increase or decrease the decimal position. One thing to watch out for when formatting numbers is that the cell width doesn't always provide enough room for the data and its formatting. This will cause Excel to display a series of hash symbols in place of the actual data. This problem can be solved by adjusting the column width or by choosing another number format. You can also create a custom number format. To begin, select the cells that contain numbers you want to format. Now click the Home tab, then Number Format, and then More Number Formats. You can also right-click the selection and click Format Cells or press Ctrl and 1. The Format Cells dialog box will open. You can use this dialog box in 2 ways. You can choose a category from the left and use the options in the center of the dialog box to modify that number format, or create a custom format using one of the last 2 categories. The Special category allows you to select custom number formats based on geographic location. The Custom category contains miscellaneous formatting options. Alignment tools are another way to make your worksheet more attractive and readable. Let's have a look at a few key tools, including alignment, text wrapping, and cell merging. To align data within a worksheet, select the cells you want to adjust and then use the command in the Alignment group of the Home tab. The top row of options control vertical alignment, while the bottom row controls horizontal alignment. The indent commands in the Alignment group of the Home tab allow you to adjust the space between a cell border and its contents. For example, if the contents of a cell are left aligned, clicking Increase Indent right arrow will increase the space between the contents and the left border. Similarly, clicking Decrease Indent left arrow will decrease that space. When you enter text into a cell and that text exceeds the cell's dimensions, the contents will continue and overlap to the next cell if it contains no data. If the neighbouring cell does contain data, the content will be truncated and hidden, although the full text will be displayed in the formula bar. Clicking Wrap Text with the cell selected will adjust the row height to accommodate overlapping text. Wrap Text can be removed by clicking Wrap Text again. When you use Wrap Text on a cell, it makes the whole row deeper. You can achieve the same effect using manual line breaks. To add a manual line break to a cell, press Alt and Enter at the desired break location when editing the contents. Occasionally, you may need a long cell for a heading, or you may need to resize columns or rows so that longer items can be displayed. The Merge and Center options allow you to select a group of cells either across a row or down a column and combine them to form one large cell. To do this, select a group of adjacent cells and click Merge and Center. You can see that now the 2 cells look like a single cell with the text centered. If you have a heading centered over a block of data and new columns of information are added, the heading will no longer look correctly centered. The solution is to simply click on the merged heading. Select Merge and Center and turn off. Now highlight the extended area and click on Merge and Center again, and that's it. Please note that you can access a few more options from the Merge and Center drop-down menu. Range names are meaningful labels that you can assign to individual cells or cell ranges. You can use a range name anywhere you would use a cell or range reference. For example, you can use a name such as clients to describe a range of cells rather than referencing cells A1 to A15 directly. To apply a cell name or range name, first use your cursor to select the cells that you want to name. Next, type the name that you would like to use into the name box. Pressing Enter will apply this name. From then on, you'll be able to select this range by clicking the Name box drop-down menu and clicking on the range name that you set. You will look at cell and range names in more detail later in the course. You should note that range names are not case sensitive, cannot contain spaces, and cannot start with a number. Excel offers a number of tools to help you find values, objects, and formatting in your worksheet and replace those items as necessary. Thomas Bradshaw's manager at Westcal Publishing noticed that the naming of some items in the company accounts workbook is incorrect because the name of the client has recently changed. Thomas needs to be able to find multiple occurrences of this name throughout the workbook and change them all. One of Thomas's colleagues mentioned that there was a quick way to do this using the Find and Select feature in Excel. Let's explore what this feature has to offer and how to use it. The Find command is used to locate information or data within the current workbook. A single cell value or multiple cells with the same value can be replaced with an updated value if required. To access the Find and Replace feature, click Find and Select, then Find, or press Ctrl and F. Either action will display the Find and Replace dialog box with the options hidden by default. The Find and Replace dialog box has lots of options on the Find tab to help with this task. Let's have a look at the commands in this dialog box. The Find What drop-down menu allows you to display any recently searched items. The Options button will expand this dialog box and show you more search options, such as matching text case. The Find All button will execute the search command and look for all instances within the worksheet. The Find Next button, on the other hand, will allow you to search for the next occurrence of the search term. Clicking it again will highlight the next occurrence, and so on. If you click the Options button, you have more choices to refine your search. You can now choose to search formatting within a sheet or workbook, in rows or columns, or by matching the case, all by making selections in the drop-down boxes. The Find and Replace dialog box contains some powerful advanced search options that you can use to find exactly what you are looking for in a workbook. Clicking the Format button will open the Find Format dialog box. Here you can specify the exact format type that you would like to search for. The Format drop-down menu allows you to choose a format to look for based upon an existing cell. The Within drop-down menu allows you to choose between searching the current worksheet or the entire workbook. The Search drop-down menu is used to specify if the search should be performed by row or column. The Look In drop-down menu is used to specify if you want to search formulas, values, or comments. The Match Case checkbox allows you to specify whether you want the results of your search to match the exact text case of your search terms. Similarly, the Match Entire Cell Contents checkbox will only return results that are the exact and complete characters of the search terms. If you click the Replace tab in the Find dialog box, you have the option to search for a term and replace it with something else. You also can jump directly to this tab by pressing Ctrl and H or by clicking Find and Select, then Replace. If any instances of the search criteria entered in the Find What text field are found, they can be replaced with whatever is in the Replace With text field. All you have to do is click the Replace button each time Excel finds something. If you click the Replace All button, Excel will replace every instance of the word or number it finds with the replacement term without waiting for you to click Replace for each one. The Options button will show additional controls and commands that you can use to provide more specific detail for your replace action. Find and Replace also lets you search for and replace certain types of formatting. In the second half of the dialog box, there are options to search worksheets, workbooks, and formulas. Once you are happy with your options, click Replace to update the format one cell at a time, or click Replace All to perform all of the replacements at once. The Go To command enables you to locate and navigate to a named cell or cell range within your workbook. You can also use certain criteria to navigate to specific areas of a workbook. This can be useful if you have a large workbook with multiple worksheets and you need to quickly navigate to specific data ranges or named areas. To view the Go To window, click the Home tab, then Find and Select, then Go To. You can also directly open the Go To dialog box by pressing Ctrl and G on your keyboard. Using this dialog box, you can quickly go to any named range within your workbook. For example, here you can see the headers range that we can quickly go to and select. Clicking the Special button will display the Go To Special dialog box that allows you to select cells based on chosen criteria. For example, you can choose blank cells, cells that contain comments, and much more. You can display this dialog box directly by clicking Find and Select, then Go To Special. It's very common that when typing a lot of text, you make a few spelling and grammatical mistakes. As with many applications in the Microsoft Office product family, Excel includes a robust spell checking tool, allowing you to check the contents of your workbook for spelling errors and to fix them. While Excel does not point out spelling errors in real time like Microsoft Word does, the spell checker will fix any problems that are found. To start checking the spelling and grammar in your workbook, first open the spelling dialog box by clicking on Review and then Spelling, or press F7. The spelling dialog box will open, indicating the dictionary language in the title field. You can select from available dictionaries by clicking the drop-down arrow in the dictionary language field. Excel will search the active worksheet and present any misspelled or unidentified words for your review, starting from the active cell. Here the word region is misspelled and shown at the top of the dialog box. There are 3 suggestions listed in the suggestions window and several buttons on the right of the screen to control how to address the error as described below. Ignore once will ignore this particular instance and keep checking the rest of the worksheet. Ignore all will ignore all instances of the misspelled word and keep checking the rest of the sheet. Add to dictionary will add this particular word to Excel's dictionary, so each subsequent entry is listed as correct. This is useful for proper names. Change will change this particular instance of the misspelled unrecognized word to whatever is currently highlighted in the suggestions box. Change all will change all instances of the misspelled unrecognized word to whatever is currently highlighted in the suggestions box. Autocorrect. Clicking this button will make autocorrect automatically change this instance of the word to whatever Excel feels is correct. Options will open the Excel Options dialog box to the proofing category. Here you can change autocorrect options and set additional corrective actions. Undo last. If you accidentally change something with the previous misspelled or unrecognized word, click this button to revert that change and then continue checking the worksheet. Cancel will stop checking for spelling errors and close this dialog box. Depending on which cell is active when launching the spelling dialog, Excel may display an information dialog box asking if you want to continue checking at the beginning of the sheet. Clicking Yes will continue the spell check, while clicking No will end the process. To check spelling on more than one worksheet at a time, press Shift, then click on the additional inactive sheets that you would like to add to your spell check. If you want to spell check all worksheets in your workbook, right-click on the Active Sheet tab and select All Sheets from the menu. When the checking is complete, click OK to return to your work. Have you ever tried to print from Excel? I have, and it didn't come out quite the way I expected. We live in a time where everything is done digitally. However, hard copies or printouts are still required in some circumstances, and knowing how to print from your workbook or data from parts of your workbook is essential. Thomas Bradshaw has been asked by his manager at West Cal Publishing to print a hard copy of some data in the West Cal sales report so that they can provide an update on sales revenue and bonuses in a meeting with stakeholders. Thomas has attempted printing from Excel before, but he didn't know how to configure the settings and page layout to get the results he would have liked. Thomas needs to quickly learn the basics in page layout and print preparation so that he can carry out this task for the manager. Let's have a look at how to use the printing functionality in Excel. There are a range of print options available in Excel to provide you with the tools to achieve the perfect print. The print options can be accessed in the Backstage view by clicking the File tab and then Print. You can also use the Ctrl and P shortcut. The right side of the print area provides a scaled-down version of what your document would look like if it were printed with the current settings. You can flip through the pages using the arrows at the bottom of the screen. There are also 2 commands in the bottom right-hand corner of this view. Click the left command to show or hide the margins and click the right one to zoom to 100%. On the left side of the print area, you will see the print command, which you can use to send the file from your computer to an available printer. Next to it is the Copies increment box, which you can use to choose the number of copies that you would like to print. Below is the Printer drop-down menu that you can use to select a printer. The Printer properties will provide more detailed options in a dialog box. Finally, the Settings section allows you to choose page ranges, orientation, size, margins, and more. To print selected worksheets or a workbook, you can specify which parts of your workbook you would like to print. By default, Print Active Sheets will be selected, so only the currently displayed worksheet will be printed. The Print Entire Workbook option will print all worksheets within the current workbook. Print Selection lets you choose to print selected cells only. To open the Page Setup dialog box, click the Page Setup link at the bottom of the Settings section. You can also click the dialog box Launcher button in the Page Setup group of the Page Layout tab. With either method, the Page Setup dialog box will open. This dialog box includes 4 tabs that provide controls to customize how your workbook is printed. Note that some of the options in this dialog box can also be found in the print area of the Backstage view. Excel has predefined views which helps you to control how you view your worksheet. You can also customize views. For example, you can choose which elements on the screen are visible or are hidden. The Workbook Views group on the View tab lets you switch between the different views. When you start Excel, Normal View will be selected. You can switch between views using the commands on the status bar as well. From left to right, you can switch between Normal, Page Layout and Page Break Preview views. You can also adjust which elements of the worksheet will be visible by checking or unchecking the element checkbox in the Show group of the View tab. Have you ever had a printout where the pages had no titles or had a single row or column of figures on a page by itself? You'll know that this requires you to keep flipping back to the first page while you're reading. When you're preparing to print, Microsoft Excel has great page layout features that solves these issues for you. You have a lot of control over page setup with features such as headers and footers, margins and page orientation. Let's explore these in Excel by starting with headers and footers. Click the option button in the Page Setup group of the Page Layout tab. The Page Setup dialog box will open. Then click the Header Footer tab. Here you can choose a variety of headers and footers from the appropriate menus. In this example, let's choose the file name as the header and the page number for the footer. Click OK to create your header and footer. In addition to basic header and footer settings, the Header Footer tab on the Page Setup dialog box also includes more detailed settings. You can find these settings near the bottom of the tab. These options allow you to set different footers for odd pages, even pages, and the first page. You can also add custom headers and footers using the buttons in the middle of the dialog box. Open the Custom Header dialog box. Notice that there are 3 boxes that equate to positions on the page. You also have a toolbar of options including text type, page numbering, date and time, and insert picture. You can see what your custom header looks like by switching to the Page Layout view. You can also set alignment and scaling options. If you click Margins in the Page Layout tab, you will see a menu with different preset margin options. Simply click an option to apply it. For more options, click the Custom Margins command. Alternatively, you can click the dialog box launcher button in the Page Setup group and open the Margins tab. With either command, the Margins tab of the Page Setup dialog box will be displayed. Here you can manually set the margin sizes for the current worksheet. You can also center the page's content on the page horizontally and vertically. You can set text alignment on the page as well as header and footer margins. The final print option that we will look at is page orientation. You will find this setting in the Print category of Backstage view. This setting allows you to choose whether your worksheet will be printed portrait with the long side vertically or landscape with the long side horizontally. You can also find this command on the Page tab of the Page Setup dialog box, or by clicking Orientation in the Page Layout tab. Have you ever tried to print from Excel and ended up with misshapen worksheets and hard to read data? How can you get a better view of your worksheet so you know where you'd like to have page breaks before you think about setting them up? Any time that you decide to print a workbook, you should always ensure that the page layout and print options are configured properly. Let's take a more detailed look at page layout and print options to help ensure that your worksheets are printed to the highest standard possible. You can adjust the zoom settings for your worksheet so that you can enlarge or reduce the amount of information that is displayed on the screen at one time. To either increase or reduce the zoom level, click the View tab and then Zoom. The Zoom dialog box will open with options to choose from a variety of zoom presets. You can also enter a custom zoom level into the custom text box. Click OK to apply your zoom settings. You can also adjust the zoom level with the zoom slider on the status bar. Remember that zoom is measured by percentages, so 200% would be the equivalent of zooming in 2 times. Page breaks are used to identify where a new page begins and another ends. Excel will automatically determine where page breaks appear based upon the paper size that you selected and its orientation, but you can modify these breaks and add your own. When viewing your workbook, page breaks are identified by thin dashed lines either vertically or horizontally. Page breaks may only be displayed after you have viewed a print preview of the current workbook. They can sometimes be hard to see unless you are using the page break view. To insert a manual page break, first click on the cell where you want the page break to be placed. A vertical page break will be added to the left of the selected cell and a horizontal page break will be added to the top of it. Next, click the Page Layout tab, then Breaks, and then Insert Page Break. To remove a page break, click to select the cell that is either to the immediate right or the bottom of the break. Next, click the Page Layout tab, then Breaks, and then Remove Page Break. Clicking the Reset All Page Breaks option in the menu will remove all the manual page breaks in the current worksheet. It's important to note that you can't add a page break to force Excel to fit more on a page. If the automatic page break is coming at an unwanted place, you can only ask Excel to move on to a new page sooner. There are some useful tools that can help you configure your page for printing, including selecting a print area or choosing whether to print titles, row and column headings, and grid lines. The Print Area feature allows you to choose exactly which area of your spreadsheet to print. To begin, select the range of cells that you want to print. Next, click the Page Layout tab, then Print Area, then Set Print Area. Once the print area is set, it will be surrounded by page break lines that are solid rather than dashed. To clear a print area, select the area in question. Then click Print Area and then Clear Print Area. Please note, while you have a print area defined, nothing else will print. You must clear the print area if you want to change what you are printing. If you are working with a worksheet that will span multiple pages when printed, you have the option to have the row and column titles repeat. This ensures that each page has the appropriate title that identifies each row and column, so you don't end up with a page of data that contains no labeling information. To access the print title options, click Print Titles. You can also click the dialog box launcher button in the Page Setup group and then click the Sheet tab. Using the rows to repeat at top and columns to repeat at left text boxes, you can choose exactly which cells you want repeated. Note that this tab also includes some more configuration options, such as the row and column headings checkbox. By enabling this option, you can print the alphabetic column headers and numeric row headers along with your worksheet. This option is disabled by default. Grid lines refer to the thin horizontal and vertical lines that divide a worksheet into rows and columns. Such grid lines are very useful in helping to separate data and facilitate the readability of your worksheets. For this reason, it is generally a good idea to include grid lines in your printout. You can turn grid lines on and off from here. Or go to the Page Layout tab and check the Print checkbox under the Grid Lines header in the Sheet Options group. If you find that the worksheet you want to print will span too many pages, you can choose to restrict the printout to a set number of pages. This will cause Excel to scale the size of your pages down in order to fit them onto the chosen number of pages. Or you can also choose to increase the scale so that your worksheet will appear larger and possibly more readable on the page, but take up more printed pages as a result. All of these scaling options are found on the Page Layout tab within the Scale to Fit group. Clicking either the Width or Height drop-down menus will allow you to choose the number of pages that you want the printout to span in those directions. The Scale Increment box, on the other hand, allows you to scale the content of your worksheets up or down. When adjusting the scaling options, take care not to shrink the content of your worksheets down too small, as this will make the data very difficult to read. Be careful not to make the content too big either, or you could end up with a worksheet that requires too many pages to print. Congratulations, you have reached the end of this module. Let's recap on the key points from this module, looking at Excel and the basic features and functionality that it provides. You looked at what Excel is and why it's useful, that it's an essential tool for anyone working with numbers. That could be account managers, financial analysts, administrative assistants, data professionals, business analysts, amongst many other roles. It's fundamentally a digital spreadsheet application with a vast array of tools for transforming, processing, and displaying data of all kinds. You started by learning all about the interface, that an Excel worksheet is made up of rows and columns that intersect to create cells. Data is contained within this cellular grid, and there are a range of features and functions contained within the ribbon, toolbars, and backstage area. You learned about file formats and how to save your files. Next, you started building some practical skills in working with data, rows, and columns in a worksheet, such as selecting cells and how to move or copy cells and their contents to other areas of the workbook or even other applications. You discovered that Excel can detect a pattern in data and help streamline sequencing with its fill features. You learned how to modify a worksheet, such as how to manipulate and edit rows and columns, and how to use Excel's formatting features for customizing text and cells, such as fonts, numbers, styles, borders, and alignment. You also explored the tools for finding and replacing data in a worksheet and for spell checking any textual data. Finally, you learned how to configure page layout and setup in preparation for printing a hard copy of your worksheet. And that's it. You've completed the entry-level part of this course on working smarter with Microsoft 365 Excel. Well done.
Thank you for watching our video. We hope you found it helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button below and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. If you know someone who could benefit from this information, please share it with them. We would love to hear your thoughts on this learning course, so please leave a comment below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.